You know, I have a question that I want to ask in a 4:3 aspect ratio because I want us to be together. I want it to be kind of tight. I don't want to be so wide, even though I'm at 24 millimeters. I have a question. And the question is, what the hell are we doing? Like, what are we watching? What are we spending time, accumulating or like ingesting? What are we like giving our lives to every day? The reason I'm asking is because I got up this morning and, I am purposely not going to mention any names. I'm going to put links in the description of this video. And if you find yourself interested in anything that I'm talking about, take 5 minutes out of your life and go to the links and go watch what I'm talking about. If you're interested. If you're not interested, I ain't mad at you. It's okay. But I'm not going to just mention the names because I know how you do. I know how people are. It's like I'll say stuff and then you'll be like interested for a second, but then the video will end and you'll go to the next video and it'll be forgotten in a matter of minutes. So if you're interested, you're going to have to stop, go to the description and look at the links. And again, if you don't do that, it's fine. I understand because that's the way the world is. Let me ask you something. Who the hell am I to tell you what to do? Like, what have I done? Like, where do I get off trying to tell you what kind of videos to make, what kind of films to pursue, how to, deal with your YouTube channel? Like, what the fuck am I even talking about? But I got up this morning and I watched this beautiful documentary. It's the second time I've watched a documentary by this filmmaker about a woman who has been through some incredible stuff. And it's like really well shot. The story is told beautifully. It's an engaging character, a meaningful story, an interesting story, a disturbing story. But it always comes out in the end hopeful and looking ahead towards better days, which I think now more than ever we kind of need that, right? Why should you listen to anything I say to you? Why do you even care? Why are you even on my channel? Like, do you have a pretty clear sense of how you're running your channel? Do you know what you want to do? Are you good with, nobody asked, right? You didn't ask me for my advice, correct? Right? But while I was watching it, I was thinking, this documentary is like 35 minutes. And it's like sitting down at Netflix or HBO. Although it's not exactly long form content, at least not compared to what I do, Like my stuff is like 2.5 hours, but this is 35 minutes, I think. And that includes the credits and all that, which I like to watch the credits. But I just thought, man, this video has 34 views. I was the only one to comment on it. Now, granted, it had only been up for 24 hours, but still, 24 hours, 34 views. So who am I to tell you what to do? I mean, I'm basically projecting, right? I'm projecting what I think I should be doing. I'm projecting what I am doing, and I'm putting it on you, and I have no right to do that, It's not for me. It's none of my business what you do. It's just my hope, It's my, my prayer, kind of, because, see, I feel like the world is so fucked up right now. And I feel like this country is in complete disarray right now. And I feel like artists are the only ones who can save us. So then I looked around YouTube and I said, let me see what's going on out here and compare. And so I went to a video about some new Canon camera that came out. And it had 26,000 views. That video, I'm sure there are like 40 videos of that camera. And I just thought, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what exactly are we doing? Why are we interested in cameras? What do we want to do with these cameras? Are we even intending to make anything with them? And so I just hope that people will take that as a responsibility. But like I said, who am I to, even put that out there into the universe? And why would anybody listen to me? Am I Francis Ford Coppola? Am I Roger Deakins? Am I Spike Lee? Who am I? I'm just this guy, who is an independent artist doing his own thing, working hard all the time, minding his own business, or I guess not. I guess I'm not minding my own business. And why are we not watching these other films that people are making, things that should inspire us, that will inspire you, that will make you feel like, you know what, I got to do something like that. I got stuff in my community going on like this. I know people going through that. I'm going through some stuff. Like, I got to do something like this. So, I don't know. I should apologize to you, but I'm not going to apologize because I really do hope that you do this. I just watched this incredible short film on Amaretto. And I'm going to put a link in the description along with the other links that I was talking about, because this was like such important work. It was historical work, and it hit me like this is the kind of work that's going to be erased in our culture because it's about a Taino. But we're not doing that. And I know the light's going up and down. I'll try to fix the exposure in post, but it's cloudy, it's going to rain. But I digress. Do you even know what Taino is? You don't. Do you even know that Puerto Rico is part of America, but it's not a state? Do you know anything about Puerto Rico? Do you understand that when Puerto Rico was decimated by a hurricane, that they weren't taken care of the way they should have been taken care of, that they've been pretty much oppressed and taken advantage of since they were a part of this country, however you want to look at that? Do you know anything about it? Do you understand why people from Puerto Rico might feel weird because they get this treatment like there's some kind of like second-class citizens, even though they are American citizens? And also, by the way, I'm shooting at 24 millimeters, which is something I never do, because I usually shoot at 28 for my wide stuff, but I really am interested in having a zoom lens like a 24-70 that's got a fixed aperture, but I'm not sure because I got the 20-60. And it does kind of bother me that I can't really use it indoors at night to get exactly what I want. Like, I could use it and I could get something, but I can't, it's not as flexible as I'd like it to be because, the aperture moves around. So anyway, I digress again. So I see this film, and this film is like a master class in writing, in directing, in cinematography, and in acting. It is a master class. And I'm thinking probably nobody watching this watched it, because do you watch the channel Amaretto? I'll put a link in the description. It's like short films, and it's just brilliant work. And it's like, I just always think to myself, like, what are you thinking about doing with your camera? What do you want to do? I mean, look, I understand if you want to do weddings and, corporate events and client work and stuff like that, that's fine, cool. But see, most people don't do that. So I looked around the internet, and it just made me think, like, why are we not watching more stuff that is meaningful? Why is it so hard to get people to watch actual movies and documentaries? And why is it so easy to get people to scroll through shorts all day? What's up with that? So I want to talk to you about a few people who follow my channel and who I actually follow. And, like me, they don't have a lot of followers. Like, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed. I got almost 2,000. I am monetized, so I'm making some money, but not a lot of money, I could buy groceries every couple of months for a week. But, I find some of these people doing incredible work, and so I want to tell you about them. But again, I'm not going to say their names. If you find anything interesting in what I'm saying here, stop after this video and go in there and check the description and go check them out. Most people here are not professionals. Most people here have other jobs. Most people here are just like looking for the new cameras and they just want to buy shit. But don't you want to do something? Don't you want to like pay attention to what's going on in the world? Like, that's part of being an artist, to pay attention to what's happening to other people, because like I often say, it ain't all about you. So yesterday I watched a video of this woman who follows me and who has actually left me this beautiful message yesterday. That really honored me. She said that I have something to do with her doing the work that she's doing. That I inspired her. And for me, that's like the greatest thing you could say to me. Because That's why I wake up in the morning, to hopefully inspire people to, you know, to do things that are engaging and to disrupt people, to disturb people, but in a beautiful kind of way. But anyway, I don't want to talk about me. So pay attention, you know, participate in your community and understand that you're a filmmaker. You're an artist. You can make an incredible contribution. You don't have anybody telling you what to do. And while that is still the case in this country, we should all take advantage of it, in my opinion. And again, who the fuck am I? But I'm just saying, you know, up until now, we've had the right to do anything we want, complain about anything, say anything, whatever. Is that going to still be the case? People can't do that in China. They can't do that in Russia. They can't do it in Iran. They can't do it in a lot of places, you know. But we can do it here still. Or, I don't know, maybe it's too late. You know, she has this journey of taking care of her mother who has dementia. And the thing about this woman is, you know, I get the sense that she doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in her filmmaking, and she's actually a fine filmmaker. But I'm enjoying the journey that she's on with her filmmaking and her storytelling. Like, her filmmaking is really, really rising, you know, and her storytelling is great. It's a really heartbreaking story, but also the most heartwarming story at the same time, because she's taking care of her mother. She's dedicating her life to this, you know. But at the same time, she's trying to have a life. She's going through these emotions that anybody can relate to. Like, what am I doing? You know, like, I have friends who had kids when they didn't plan on having kids, and they had very similar feelings. They felt trapped. You know, they felt like their life stopped. And I mean, they loved their kids. They adored their kids. They would die for their kids. But, you know, I'm talking real talk, like they felt like their lives were ruined too. And so that's what this kind of reminded me of. And I was just very moved by the whole story. And then I was really moved by the way she was using lighting in certain spots, and her composition was beautiful. And she's really making an effort to make films, to be a filmmaker, to, you know, I told her, I said, you should turn this into a documentary. Like, shoot over a long period of time, put it all together, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years later. Like, make this a project. But all I'm saying is, don't you want to take your skills and create something amazing? Create something meaningful and progressive and forward-thinking, and something that disrupts people's day-to-day life and, you know, their scrolling life and just the bullshit that they're involved with, not really thinking about anything, certainly not thinking about their communities. And meanwhile, all this craziness is going on right now. Like, don't you want to, like, create something and bring people together with that work? There's a woman who I follow who doesn't have a lot of followers and stuff like that. She's out, like, in the woods all the time, and she's, like, talking about plants and basically food that you can, you know, get for free in the forest or somewhere near where you live. You know, she also knows how to prepare, like, you know, canning and fermenting foods and stuff like that. But it's very, very educational. I'm learning a lot from it. She also knows how to fix stuff. Like, you know, not like some crazy, you know, like conspiracy theory prepper or something like that. She's just like a normal, very nice, kind person who knows how to do shit. And I find her channel to be really valuable. And she's also incredibly supportive. She's always shouting out other creators and stuff, talking about people that she enjoys, and she's all about community. So I get so much from that channel. I go there all the time. I mean, I can't think of anything more, you know, important to do if you're an artist, if you know how to use a camera, if you're a writer, if you're a songwriter, if you're whatever you do. But it's none of my business what you do. There's another woman, I just watched a video of hers yesterday. She's got this beautiful personality. She's always positive, and she's talking about things she's been through. It's like a coming of age channel. And you have every right to do whatever you want. You have every right to tell me to fuck off. You know, how she grew up, where she grew up, what she went through, how she felt about things, you know, things that everybody goes through. Lack of confidence, trying to be like everybody else, trying to fit in, but also trying to be independent, you know, trying to be who you are. You have every right to look at this video and go, fuck him. The fuck does he think he is? You have every right to feel that way, and I understand that, because it's none of my business to tell anybody what to do. And every one of her videos, I walk away with some profound knowledge that she's kind of given without trying too hard. Like, her stuff is really easy. It just flows. It's beautiful. And she's also, you know, composing the shots well. And I don't know that she really cares all that much about her filmmaking, but it looks beautiful. And it looks beautiful because the stories are beautiful and the delivery is beautiful. But a lot of people do tell you what camera to buy. They do tell you what lenses to buy. And by the way, what they tell you like on March 28th, I think today's the 28th, might not be what they tell you on April 28th. Because if there's another embargo and they get sent another camera, they're going to change their mind. And this camera that's like the greatest, most groundbreaking, you know, creative tool ever is not going to be that in a month. And think about it. Think about it. Think about just a few years ago, the Sony a7S III was the perfect camera. And how do people look at it now? Nobody wants it. Except for professionals who know what it is. How about the Panasonic S5 IIX and the S5 II? They're already incredibly cheap on eBay or even at, you know, stores like B&H and Adorama and KEH and places like that. Like suddenly they're not, you know, groundbreaking cameras anymore? What's up with that? Of course they are. You ever notice that? Like something when it comes out, a few months go by and suddenly it's not quite as good anymore. You even thinking about the GH7 anymore? When the GH7 first came out and people were talking about it, it was like a real thing, right? Same thing with the S5 IIX. You know, you probably remember all those videos and people were like giddy over it. And now they don't care. Now all of a sudden it's the Nikon. You know, there's a guy who, I go to his channel sometimes. He is a ridiculously talented filmmaker, like off the charts, really, really gifted. And he's got like, I think he's got less than 50 followers. And he's done some travel kind of videos and stuff like that. And they're like little short feature films. Like personally, I would prefer them to be longer, but you know, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. Although I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I find his channel incredible to look at. It's just beautiful. It's like a master class in filmmaking. And he's, you know, not working with a lot of stuff. And I don't think that he's a full-time filmmaker as a trade in his life. I don't know, but I don't think so. But he's, you know, like I would really encourage going to that channel. You'll learn a lot about lighting, about color, about composition, about camera movement, you know, all that kind of stuff. Angles, you know, focal lengths. Really, really, really solid, good channel. Does it really make a difference? And, you know, what bothers me about that is who's making real great work with these cameras? Who's trying to tell stories with these cameras? Who is like breaking out of this 7-minute, 13-minute, you know, little spin cycle that everybody lives inside of and do something more extended, you know, do something more, you know, like that requires you to actually develop characters and do exposition and have an arc for your story and like really, really think about challenging yourself. There's somebody I go to all the time who reviews films. And I don't want to say too much because I'll give it away. And if I give it away, you're not going to go to my description. But he reviews films, and I personally have watched about 5 films because of him. And also, when you look at the channel, it's put together really well. And it turns out this is somebody who used to work in the film industry. And so his talking head part is really well lit. It's kind of moody. It just is composed well, looks great. And his reviews are top notch. And trust me, you're going to find some stuff that you're going to want to watch, and you're going to thank him for that. So you can check that out if you're interested. And doing something that you're so proud of, but you know, don't be afraid. Are you afraid? Is that what it is? You're afraid. Because you're afraid you can't do it? Like, you can make an incredible YouTube video. You can make something that looks like a, you know, a $5 million Nike commercial all by yourself in your living room. So you can't make a movie? You can't make a documentary, you can't do something important. And again, it's none of my business. I got, you know, no right to say any of this. I mean, there's so many people, you know, I guess the last person I'm going to talk about, and I could talk about so many more, and I probably will in the future. But there's this young kid that I've been kind of going back and forth with sometimes, and he is more gifted than he even understands. And I'm trying so hard to get him to do more. You know, but I could tell he gets pissed off at me, you know. He gives me these curt kind of short answers, and I could, like I'm an empath. I could feel shit. I know when somebody's offended or pissed off or angry or whatever, feels disrespected. But don't you want to do that? I want you to do that. Like some of you are so inspiring to me. I've learned so much from so many creators on this platform. But now I'm bored with almost all of you. But what he doesn't realize is that I'm thinking of the documentary. I watched it and I'm thinking about this kid and I'm like, imagine if this kid, instead of just making YouTube videos and showing off his skills, which his skills are abundant, they're incredible. But instead of just like making these short little 10-minute, 3-minute, 7-minute YouTube videos, which nobody cares about after they see it, like it comes and goes. I want to be inspired. I want to see what you do that makes me cry, makes me laugh, just takes me out, like affects me in the way that Roma affected me, Coda affected me, Moonlight affected me, Cinema Paradiso, Rabbit Proof Fence. Like I want to be affected by art. I don't care what the dynamic range is of your camera. As a matter of fact, I just watched a few Jim Jarmusch films. And they're black and white, the ones that I watched. And the dynamic range is like, all right, it's okay. But do you think I thought about that for even 1 second? Like, because I'm a filmmaker and because I'm studying black and white right now, because I'm thinking of shooting my film in black and white, for about the first 5 minutes I thought about it. But then all of a sudden I was engaged in this story. And I was like, this is just high art. And I also thought one of these films was so simple. Like anybody, the camera hardly moved throughout the whole film. Like instead of that, imagine if he extended a story, wrote a script, made a feature film or made a documentary, something like a good solid hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. And then imagine if he got his family and his friends together, his community. Maybe he went to his school, his job, anywhere, whatever is going on in his town, and created a gathering in person. Instead of just giving a bunch of people your link, yo, here's my link, check out my YouTube channel. Who gives a fuck? Everybody's got a fucking YouTube channel. I mean, we should be studying more filmmakers and we should be making movies because we have the opportunity to do that. It used to be impossible. I'm sure that some of the older filmmakers who watched channels like this, who occasionally show up here, probably think, man, these young cats are so stupid. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was a pipe dream to make a movie. It was millions and millions of dollars. Nobody had a phone to make a movie. Nobody could buy a GH5 for $400 or an S5 for $600. Nobody could buy anamorphic lenses for $300. But now you could do that, so you got no excuse. But create an event, get people together, and then talk about it together. Bring food, you never know what can build from something like that. And he has the ability to do something like that. And also, he's the kind of kid who's got a really elevated spirit, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's somebody who can truly change the world, make a real impact with his art, because you know how much I believe in art. Don't you want to do that? I mean, we have the opportunity to do it. Why is hardly anybody doing that? I mean, most of the people doing that, they're not on YouTube, because when you look around this gigantic community of camera operators and, filmmakers, photographers, photographers are doing more kind of real work in the YouTube space, I think. But it's easier to do that as a photographer, much harder to do it as a cinematographer, as a filmmaker. Because a filmmaker, you got to jump off of YouTube and make a movie. That's why Matty Hapoya left. He wants to make a movie. That's why Danny Gewirtz is hardly here anymore, because he made a movie. And now he's probably like, damn, how can I go back to YouTube now? I just made this brilliant film that was showing in theaters all over the country, that won all these awards. That was a beautiful work of art. Because he's a great artist. He's not a YouTuber. He's not a guy in the spin cycle. He's not a 7-minute video man. He can make those videos in his sleep. He can make a video about his dog up in, Labrador in Canada, the Labrador Sea. He could do that shit in his sleep. Art heals, art fixes things. Art is so powerful. And that's what I wish for from everybody. That we all do more meaningful stuff that we can get out of the internet and create events together. I'm a theater artist in addition to being a filmmaker, and I always intend for every one of my projects to be in public, to share it with people in a theater or out on the street or in an abandoned storefront or in an art gallery or in a bookstore or in a proper big theater, like whatever, at a school, a college, a high school. Unless I curse too much, then we'll keep it above 16. But I'm just saying, I wish people would extend their work, would get out there and share it with the universe, would intend to inspire people, because you have to realize, no matter how great your work is here on YouTube, once people get past you, they're going to the next video and they're going to sit around, they're trapped here. And they're going to watch a million videos today and they're going to forget about your video. But the thing is, it's not impressive really if you really are interested in films and movies. It might be impressive if you're just a camera operator. I could understand that. But if you're a filmmaker, you don't care about that. You want something that's going to tug at your heart, that you're going to want to call all your friends and go, yo, I'm fucked up. I just saw Lee, about Lee Miller, a photographer during World War II, and it just took me out for 2 days. You want to be affected like that. Or maybe they'll remember it, but it's not going to impact them the way a movie does. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. It's not going to do what a full-length feature or a full documentary or long-form content is going to do, and I'm going to stand on that forever. So anyway, yeah, I'm talking to you in this 4:3 aspect ratio because we're a little bit tighter and we're a little bit closer to each other. And I hope you ain't mad at me for this, because I mean the best. I have the best of intentions. I care about you. I'm inspired by you. I'm impressed with you. You're incredibly gifted. You're amazing. You can do anything with a camera. You know how to get all the sound together. You know how to do everything. You have it all ready. But why don't you want to do something just because you're making money? Just because you're earning a living doing this? You're really just cool with that? That's all you want? I don't believe that. I don't think that's why you got into this to begin with. I think you want to tell stories. I think you want to do something meaningful. Killers of the Flower Moon. Watch that movie. 3 hours of American history and of some of the most brilliant filmmaking and acting and directing that you've ever seen in your life. It'll make you want to do shit, And I know people are watching this going like this to me, but that's all right. I mean, I understand when you watch a review of the Nikon or the Panasonic or the Fuji or whatever. I understand that when you watch those, it does inspire you to do one too, but that's easy for you. You could do that no problem. It's not hard. You're lying about that. It ain't hard for you. It's easy for you. It might take a little bit of time, if you're really meticulous with it, but it's easy. That's your comfort zone. You ain't uncomfortable at all with anything you do now because you know everything. You know how to use focal lengths, aperture, white balance, and you know everything. You know how to get great composition. You have the fundamentals to do this. It's cool because that's how I feel about it. I just wish you would go back and think about why you either went to film school or why you originally wanted to get into filmmaking or why you wanted to become an artist, what your dreams were, and just understand that your dreams can never be taken from you because getting something from this is not the point. Doing the work is the point every day. Understanding the opportunity that you have every day of your life when you wake up to do the work. That's the shit. It's not about winning an Academy Award or winning film festivals or whatever. Who cares? Nobody cares. What matters is doing it every day. And then sharing it with a community. And sharing stories like the one that I watched on Amuleto today or the documentary that I watched this morning, which I'm also linking here, about a woman who talked about sexual abuse. So, hope you go in the description and check these people out. I mean, I watched that movie this morning and I was sitting there in tears because of the bravery of this woman and also because it resonated with me so deeply because she's a poet. And so, I saw her in this tiny little space with a music stand, which I don't believe in music stands. I wish she had memorized it. And if she came to my workshop, she would have memorized that shit. But still, it was so beautiful and the story was so brave. And then this documentary was amazing. And this filmmaker, who I'm going to link in the description, I saw another documentary of his a couple of weeks ago, actually. So now he's on my radar, but he ain't getting no views. But you think he cares? He's waking up every day and doing the work. He doesn't give a fuck, you know? So, yeah. I wish you would do more, but I know it's none of my business. You know, I pray for that because I know that you can make a difference in things that are happening in the world. I know that. I know you could be like an energizer, making people aware, making people feel something by putting a mirror in front of their face and going, yo, pay attention. You know, as an artist, you have an opportunity to create something so beautiful that people will allow you to hold up that mirror because they're so overwhelmed with your artistry. But then they're like, oh shit, I wasn't really thinking about that. That's a great gift. I wish you would take that gift, unwrap it, and accept it. That's all I got to say about that today. All right.